Welcome everybody, this is Annica Törneryd, founder of Act to Exceed. I am very excited about an interview that we're about to do here with Mr. Stephen Christensen, the Dean at the School of Business, Entrepreneurship Instructor, and Executive Vice President of Concordia University, Irvine, California. Welcome.
Thank you, pleasure to be here today.
Okay, so and as I read under your email signature, I'm going to read this. It says that your personal mission is serving as an entrepreneurship catalyst, personally committed to educating, training, and empowering values-based entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs of any age for success in business and life. That is fantastic. I love it.
Fun thing to do.
Awesome. Okay, so thanks, first of all, for taking the time to talk about this exciting topic, entrepreneurship and making dreams come true, with special focus on young entrepreneurs, our future, right?
Yes, the young people.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Concordia University Teen Entrepreneur Academy. Teenpreneurs, and the award ceremony for the best business plan competition. That is at the end of this academy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it just took place last week in Irvine, in your school.
Friday evening was the end of our 1-week intensive entrepreneurship immersion training program. Mm-hmm. And of course, you want to talk about the award academy, so I'll tell you the award academy, and then later on we could work backwards. But the exciting thing, I'm sure for you and many of your listeners, is that the first place team was a pair of high school students from Luxembourg who came all the way to the USA to participate in our competition and won first place.
Have you ever been to Luxembourg?
No.
No? Okay, so Luxembourg is the capital of the country, Luxembourg, in the middle of Europe. It's called the Green Heart of Europe, and it's tiny, tiny, tiny. So
the finance part of the world, right?
Yes.
The finance capital?
Yes. Yes, it has been at least. But to hear that these two girls won with international competition, I'm super impressed and excited for them. So it is so nice. Go Luxembourg!
Luxembourg. So the thing is that we had 22 teams present, 8 minutes each in the qualifying round. Mm-hmm. And then the top 3 teams go on to the championship round on Friday evening for the first place, $1,000 prize, second place $500, third place $300. And so they were one of the top 3 teams. And so they got to present once again in the championship round. The championship and the business plan competition is sponsored by Citibank. Citibank is our major sponsor, and so they give us funds that actually allow some of the teenagers from low-income families to come to the program. Anyway, so the Luxembourg, the 2 girls presented in the championship round and took first place.
I was thinking, am I jealous? But it is such a great thing. This whole thing. I have several questions on this. First, I have to ask you, how did you? Because you are the founder of this project, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So, how did you come up with the idea to start the Teen Entrepreneur Academy? And if I am right, there's also a Kids Entrepreneur Academy.
Yes, and we'll talk about that too.
Yeah.
So the way I came up with this idea was 5 years ago. So this year was our 5th annual. Mm-hmm. So it was probably 6 years ago that I was reading about a problem that we have in America. And that is that 85% of the high school students in America wish they had more business education. And then 80% said that they wanted to start their own business, but the schools weren't helping them in high school. Now, high schools have a lot of things to teach, so it was not like they were ignoring it, but nevertheless, these teens felt that they were not getting enough education. Mm-hmm. Also, actually, in the United States, of those teenagers who drop out of high school, which is several million a year, the #1 reason they're dropping out is because they're not seeing the relevancy between what they want to learn about business and what they're getting in high school. So this was based upon a survey done by the global organization Gallup. Gallup does surveys around the world on all kinds of subjects.
Yep.
So I read this article and I thought, well, that's not so good for these high school students. I teach business. I teach entrepreneurship, business startup. My focus is on startup strategies and lean startup. And as a kid growing up, I went to summer camp. But I didn't go to business summer camp. I went to Boy Scout summer camp.
Oh, I was a Girl Scout camp leader.
Okay, so you know, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and so this summer camp experience sort of kept me out of trouble, got me out of the city, it got me away from the kids that might get me in trouble, and I had a positive experience on my life. Then our oldest daughter, who's 30 now, but when she was in high school, she went to a business summer camp sponsored by the Kauffman Foundation, which is probably the largest entrepreneurship foundation in the United States, out of Kansas City. And so I was familiar with summer camps. And I also spent many years at the University of California, Irvine. I worked there. And when I was there, we did a summer science camp. So I had these thoughts going through my head, and I thought, okay, if we can do a summer science camp, why couldn't we do a business summer camp? And I had never done one before myself, but I knew what the business plan competition could look like and how to do it. And so the Lord just put it on my heart to do this program. Having never done one, but I'm an entrepreneur, right? So what do? You go do a little research, and you see who else is doing summer camps, how do they do it, what do they do, start getting samples of curriculum. And then there was one, a summer camp that was business related about an hour away from here. So I called that guy and I said, hey, let me come down to your camp. I want to see what you do and how you do it, right? So he said, okay. But the difference between his camp and mine was his was a business simulation. But ours is actual, where the students have a real business plan that they want to start. Because I didn't want to do simulation. I want to do hands-on real work.
Yeah.
So I looked at his camp and I said, okay, I think I can do this. And started to put together forums and advertising and marketing, and we set the date. And of course, like anyone that throws a party, you wonder, is anybody going to come?
Yeah.
And so we put it out there. In the first year, we had 40 students come.
International or from America?
The first year, we probably only had 1 or 2 international. So the first year was 40. And we learned each year little different things. The second year was 60, the third year 80, the fourth year 100, and this year 105. This year they come from 6 or 7 states in the United States, as well as Luxembourg, Italy, France, China, Taiwan, Vietnam. So we have a global program now.
Yeah.
So this is how the idea came to me, and we just learned by doing.
That's the best way.
And you know, the other thing though is I do raise money, and I get corporate sponsorship because there are a lot of teenagers who would like this kind of program but can't afford it. You know, this 1 week it's $1,000, $1,500 or so, and so I raise money so that these students could come on scholarship. Many of these are low income, at risk, from very, very poor neighborhoods. Some of them would never have this experience, but they have the same dreams. All high schoolers are the same. They have dreams and aspirations, and so they come. The other thing that I do is I want to connect the global economy. So I want to connect high school students in the U.S. with high school students in Europe and in Asia, because the world is flat today. It's a global economy, and they're going to work together on deals. Yeah. And I want them to become familiar with each other. I know, for example, I get many from China. You know, the U.S. government, China government, sometimes they butt heads and everything. But that's politics. At the human level, people all have the same dreams in their heart and aspirations to be successful, for a good life for themselves, for their family. So if I can get the young people to see that China and America, Europe and America, we're all friends and we have the same dreams, build bridges now. So when they go to college and then they start businesses, they already have been exposed to a global world, a global economy.
Yeah, they know that there's more out there.
Oh yeah, it's not just their one little city and 10 miles around them.
Yeah, But I mean, this is amazing. It must be such a great feeling to be able to do this and provide this opportunity for all these young people.
Well, it is, and I hire a staff and a bunch of teachers and everything. Everybody's 1099, which means independent contractor. So because we only do the camp for the 1 week, so I don't need a staff year round. I don't have anything. They all just come together. Myself, I don't get paid. It's just volunteer. It's just something that I do that I love to do. And so I just round all of these people up, and we're all together for a week, and we ramp up and we do this. And you know, the parents, I get feedback from the parents. The students, they say their lives have been changed. I had one parent come up to me and said, "We will never forget you for the rest of our lives. The change that you've had and the impact on their son," you know. And I'm thinking, wow, that's really great, but I'm just doing what it's sort of like I'm doing. It's great to do what you were called to do, you know. And this is, you know, people have dreams. They have desires, they have ambitions. What they need is a little help on how to write the plan. And if you can give them a little help on how to write the plan and teach them to fish, then they can eat fish for their whole life instead of just giving them fish to eat for one day. So this is what we're trying to do, is teach them for lifetime education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've read some pretty amazing statements on the website. And I mean, I understand there are many things that are great about this for you, but if you have to pick one thing, what is the greatest reward for you to be the founder and the main host of this event?
For me, the greatest reward is to see these young people's lives and minds open to new possibilities. You know, somebody said if you want shade, you know, 10 years from now, you got to plant the tree now. And so for me, it's just you know, we're on this earth for a short period of time. I have a job, I work at the university, I do a lot of things and all of this, and it has an impact. But this is just something that's really special for young people. And I think that somebody asked me how many of my students go on to actually start the business. And for me, that's not the most important indicator of success. What I'm trying to do is create a different mindset in these young people. I'm trying to create the entrepreneurial mindset, a mindset that sees problems as opportunities, a mindset that is always looking for innovation, creativity, a mindset that can be described in 2 words for the entrepreneur, that is, what if. I want these students to always ask what if, to be possibility thinkers, to be innovators, and to look for ways to make this world a better place, because now they have these new ideas and new concepts in their mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't know because I haven't been through it, but I'm guessing that it would help to get from the difference of waiting for an opportunity to come to you, and with this, you actually learn that you can create opportunities.
Yes, and the thing is, you know, we talk about ideas, okay? Ideas are a dime a dozen. There's no shortage of ideas. And actually, we encourage them to make an idea journal so they can list all of their ideas. But the idea without a plan is worth nothing. So you must take that idea, but you must be action oriented. You must be bold, and you must take risks, and you're going to fail, and it's okay, because when we fail, failure is the first step in learning. So when we fail, we know what doesn't work, and then we modify the plan. We want perseverance, persistence, until we get the plan right to know it works. So this is what we're trying to teach them. I told them, this is the one time where you're going to go to school and it's okay to fail, because you want to fail really fast. We're going to learn from it.
Awesome. So, has there been a challenge for you? I like all these great things and being part of it and seeing the kids grow and ideas come alive. But what is challenging for you during this week, or to prepare it and set it up? What's the greatest challenge for you?
Well, fortunately, I only have a few of them. One challenge, of course, is staffing, because we have 100 teenagers who are away from home, living in the dorm. Now, we keep them very, very, very busy and all of this, but these are, you know, high school girls and guys, and occasionally people get a little distracted. We got to keep them on focus. So I always worry that, you know, someone might just, you know, we say, you know, be a little hanky-panky going on. But we
Okay.
do have our chaperones, you know, a 12-to-1 ratio and all of this.
Yeah.
But still, it's high school, you know, and they're from all over the world, and they're meeting interesting people. And, you know, I tell them, look, you know, don't do anything during the week that you hear that you might regret. Get phone numbers and emails and create friendships. And if your friendship blooms over time, but you don't have to rush anything this week. You're here to learn business and all of this. So I do worry every now and then about hormones, mostly of the guys. But so I worry about that. Fortunately, we haven't had any problems. I guess Concordia, we're a small university, 1,500 students. The largest room that I have for this is about 100. I have a lecture hall for 250 people, but a lecture hall is not the type of atmosphere we want to sit in. We're sitting in round tables, groups of 6 and 8 and 10. They work in teams of 4 on their business plan. We tell them to seek out someone that doesn't look like them. Don't hang out with your friends. You see them in school, because someone that doesn't look like you and think like you is the person that's going to complement your thinking.
Yeah.
You know, the first day we ask them, who's good at math? Raise your hand. So all the math people raise their hand. I tell the others, look around. Each of you need one of these math people on your team. But I guess I want to keep it on the campus. I have room for 500 students to live in the dorm. I could do 500 because I would just hire more high school teachers. There's probably 25 high schools within 20-mile radius that teach entrepreneurship right here in Orange County. So I bring those teachers in to teach. So I guess I could put 500 in a dorm, but I would probably have to go and rent a big tent and air conditioning and round tables. And but we could do it. So you know, I'd like to get to 500. I do it all in this 1 week. I guess someone says, well, why don't you do it 1 week, 4 weeks in a row? Well, it's just so much work. It's so draining. I mean, I work during that week. It's, you know, I'm here from 7 a.m. to 11 at night. You know, my wife, she doesn't see me for the whole week. And so when it's over, I look forward to seeing my wife. We go out to dinner and get caught up. So I could do 4 1-week sessions. It's just
once a quarter.
Once a quarter, I don't know, but other than that, it's just fun to do. So it's a matter of just really the resources to grow it and expand it. I could do it in other cities and with a franchise model, but you know, we're here in Southern California. We do visit companies and visit technology on the tour. Southern California, I mean, California would be the world's 6th largest economy if it was a country. So, I mean, I'll give my curriculum to anybody in another city that wants to do it, because I really, you know, I'm not care about the ownership of it. We got to prepare the young people. They're the leaders of tomorrow, and the schools are doing the best that they can. There's so much for them to teach in a limited amount of time. So we like to say we come alongside the high schools and supplement and complement what they're doing already.
Yeah. Okay, so you're in Irvine, California. I'm in Luxembourg, the capital and the country. And I'd just like to share a little bit of background from a Luxembourgist perspective on this competition. Maybe you already know it all, but the listeners might not. So in April this year, the American Embassy in Luxembourg organized a week-long student contest called Startup 3.0. And the week ended with pitch night, where the first prize was an all expenses paid trip to your campus and a full week of participation in the Teen Entrepreneur Academy, the one that just took place. And so the winners, Victorine Kupulu and Cheryl Schmitz, they were competing with their project that was the Smart Bin.
Smart Bin.
Yes, and it's so cool that Luxembourg won. Can you just like give us some details about how did they do? What was it about their pitch that stood out that actually made them win?
So anyway, it was a great idea that they had, which was basically trash bins that had a solar cover to it, and that would separate the trash and help decompose it. And so it was solar powered, sort of a high-tech trash bin. So it reduces trash and landfill. and solar activated. So it was a really great idea. So that's number one. Number two, I guess, one advantage they had was that they had been through the week once before. They had been through the competition. And so there's two parts to winning our competition. Of course, the idea must have merit and all of this, but it's also how do you present? And because they had been together, they had chemistry. See, a lot of these other teams, the students had never met before. They were 3 or 4 per team. They were working their way through it, learning about each other. So one of the advantages that they had that helped them to stand out is that they were very polished. They had chemistry. They knew each other. They liked each other. It was a really persuasive presentation. So presentation style is as important as the content. And so that really helped them. I mean, the difference between the first place team and the second place team and the third was about 2 or 3 points each. I mean, it was really close. So it wasn't like someone scored a 425 and the next team was 375. I think it was like 410, because there's like 15 categories and each one up to 5 points each. So it was like 410, 407, and 403, the difference between first, second, and third place. So, I mean, it was really close.
Yeah. Okay. And the purpose of the Teen Entrepreneur Academy is to, this is the mission statement. I'm going to read it because it's really good. So the purpose of the Teen Entrepreneur Academy is to educate, train, and empower the next generation of honorable entrepreneurs, teenpreneurs, so that they become difference makers who lead productive, fruitful, and purposeful enterprises and experience meaningful lives of integrity, serving others, and making the world a better place.
That's what we're trying to do. So it's not only about the money. Actually, the focus is not about making money. It's about solving a problem. Money is the byproduct. See, the purpose of a business is to meet the needs of a customer. And if you do that in a profitable way, then money will follow. If you're just focused on the money, your business is not going to be successful because you're going to have your eye on the wrong goal. And so we want them to have integrity and focus and help solve important problems. Some of the questions, for example, we had a speaker come in who's manufacturing some products in Asia. And one of the high school girls here locally had asked, well, how do you know about the conditions in some of these factories where these products are being made? And so they're very much concerned about human rights, about equality, about working conditions. That's very important for the young people today, and I have to applaud and praise them for thinking about that in addition to how to make a good product.
Yeah, how to make money and the product, and then also taking lives into consideration. Yeah. So I read on the business plan competition, the business principles that you teach. Some of them are marketing strategy, sales techniques, market research, a startup budget, investor presentation, your elevator pitch. These are awesome things to know and so important to learn and to know proper entrepreneurship. What a great school. I really, in French, we say chapeau, you take your hat off. So we've spoken about the criteria to enter the competition, and what is, like, as a winner, or you've been through the school, finalist or not, in your opinion, what would you say are some really good next best steps to take to keep momentum and take the most advantage of what they've learned?
So, many of them did a lot of work on a real project that's important to them. So we encourage them to keep thinking about that project. If they do want to move forward, we're committed to helping to mentor them and to coach them. I mentioned to their parents at the graduation, I warned the parents that as their children move forward, that they should be prepared to be working for their children and helping them in any way possible, whether that's driving them places or helping them get supplies or lending them some startup seed money. So I told the parents to be prepared. But here's the interesting thing, because I talked about the entrepreneurial mindset is the goal. Fact of the matter, and the truth is, 95% of high school graduates and college graduates are not going to start their business when they finish school. they're going to go work for someone else. Now, this is a good thing. We want them to go to work with someone else, but we want them to work for someone else with the mindset to think like an owner. Even though they don't own that company, think as if and work as if they were an owner of the company. They've done a startup budget, so they're going to be sensitive to expenses and why we turn off the lights and why we recycle paper and do all of this. But we want them to show up every day and to add value, not just to be taking a job, but to be creating jobs and to apply themselves, to learn everything they can about that company, because at some point in time, they're going to see an opportunity that maybe their company doesn't want to do a certain part of the business because it's not their core business, but there's still an opportunity there. And at some point in time, they might go back to their company and say, you know, we're leaving this part of the business on the table because it's not what we focus on. But if you're interested, maybe we can set up a strategic alliance, and the business that you don't want, I'll take. So there's going to be lots of these sorts of opportunities, number one. Number two, when they go work full-time for a company, they're going to get paid for 40 hours a week. Mm-hmm. If they have an idea and a passion, there's 80 to 120 hours in a week. So go work for the company, get some security, get your pay, get your health care and these other benefits, and then you go home and you work on your little project. And you get your business started. And get it started, start growing it, stay at your company as long as you can, outsource some of these other things until your company is large enough that you're able to spin off and start it on your own. So we don't want to end their creativity and entrepreneurial pursuit, but learn everything, because there's a lot to running a business. I remember I had an entrepreneur come in here and talk about, and the student asked him what were some of the mistakes they made, because this guy started many companies, middle-aged now. He went to college for 2 years, then he dropped out to start his business. And he was telling the story that, you know, when his business started to grow so big, he didn't realize X, Y, and Z, and he made this mistake because he didn't know that he needed to do it. Mm-hmm. Of course, I reminded him he would have learned that in his third year of college, you know, but he had dropped out. But there's a lot to business, and, you know, sometimes these young people, they think they have all the answers, but there's a lot of systems and processes and procedures. Go learn everything that company can teach you. See what they're doing right. See what they're doing wrong. Learn about processes, controls, quality control. And you can take those and put them in the back of your mind, and you're going to transfer them to your company later on. The other thing, too, is you're going to go work for a company, and at some point, something's going to happen in that company, and it might be time to shrink. And they're going to let you go. And when they let you go, even though you might be there 10, 20 years, it's going to be a sad time, but that's going to be the time when they're liberating you to be free to now take your company to the next level. So work full time, but always keep that entrepreneurial spirit there. And, you know, the real jobs are created by small businesses, 90% in the United States. And don't worry if it's a small business. You know, I mean, it's great if you're going to start the next Google, the next Apple, or what have you. But the economy is really driven by companies with less than 100 employees doing $10 million a year or less. And so many of these investors and angel investors, you know, they're only interested in companies that have a $10 billion potential. Mm. You imagine you start a business, maybe it's a $5 million business, maybe it's a $3 million business, 3 or 4 employees, maybe your net, you're taking home $250,000, $300,000 a year, creating 4 jobs. This is wonderful. It's great to have the small business. And if it can grow, great, then the more power to you. But don't worry about a small business at $5 million. That's a good business.
Yeah, I love this. I have already made my own plan now that I'm going to start saving so that I can take my 3 kids, try to get them into your school. And I even thought, I can volunteer as a teacher. Because I was thinking first, I would then be on holiday. I love California, so that was great. And then I thought, oh my God, I could volunteer as a teacher. So how old do the kids have to be?
So for the high school program, they're usually 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. They're in high school. Yeah. But then you did mention the Kid Entrepreneur Academy. This is another program that's happening the same week, except it's 8 to 5. It's a day camp. And the way that came about was when I was advertising for the Teen Entrepreneur Academy, every year parents would call me up and say, oh, my son or daughter is not in high school yet. What do you have? they're only in 7th grade or 8th grade. And for 2 years, I didn't have anything. Of course, being the entrepreneur, the marketplace has spoken. I guess I should do a day camp. So I created the Kid Entrepreneur Academy. This was our 2nd year. Last year was the 1st year. The 1st year we had 40. This year we had 80. And it's grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. So again, I hire teachers who teach entrepreneurship to run those too. So they're doing similar curriculum as the teenagers are. And so between the 100 for the Teen Entrepreneur Academy and the Kid On, we had 180. So I had 3 classes going all at the same time. 180, but remember, I still want to get to 500. So I'm not even halfway there yet.
Yeah, and maybe you want to set one up in Europe?
I guess we could. I've never been to Luxembourg. I'll await the embassy's official invitation, and then would be delighted to come visit.
We shall work on that. We shall work on that. Okay, I got so excited I lost where I was in my questions here. But can you, if you just have to pick one thing to underline the importance of why supporting young people in entrepreneurship, how it can best help them in life, what would you say? So,
we're really teaching entrepreneurship for life, whether it's starting a business in home or in the classroom. And so that mindset, entrepreneurship for life, is seeing problems not as difficulties, but as opportunities. There's going to be many, many problems that we face in life, not only in business, but in relationships and all of this. And so if you have the positive mindset, if you are prepared mentally and emotionally to see problems as opportunities to grow, to develop new relationships, opportunities to start new companies. We talk about three words. It's dream, struggle, victory. DSV, dream, struggle, victory. And so we talk about the dream, and we want people to have their dream and not lose it. But know that everybody that's accomplished their dream had struggles along the way. So if you know that struggles are coming, you can psychologically be prepared for them and not let them take you down and take you out of commission and quit. You know the struggles are coming. Be prepared. You're going to weather the storm, because after the struggle is the victory. So no dream goes straight to victory. There's going to be bumps along the way. There's going to be things that will discourage you. But if you know that they're coming and you surround yourself with a team of people who encourage you, then you're going to be successful not only in business, but in life and in all of this. So this is what we call it, entrepreneurship for life.
Dream, struggle, victory. I think that is so good, because especially as a young person, for adults as well, but even more so for young people, when you look at successful entrepreneurs or anyone who's successful, the distance between where you are today and where they are, you don't see the struggle. You just see their success, and it's very disencouraging, I think, to, you have no clue how they got there. So to learn already before you start that there is going to be struggle, then I think it's easier to handle it when it happens, because it will happen.
And we ask all of our speakers to talk about their struggles along the way. Mm-hmm. We ask about that. The other thing too is, of course, one of the things the kids always ask is, what should we call you? Is it Professor Steve? Is it Dean Steve? Is it Mr. Christensen? And I said, okay. I asked them, how many of you play sports? And almost half the group raised a hand. I'm like, what is the role of a coach on your team in sports? And they give me lots of answers, and they touch all around it. But the goal of a coach is to take an individual from wherever they are, to identify their strengths, and to build on their strengths, and to try to mitigate their weaknesses. Although I don't spend a lot of time on weaknesses, because you can hire to your weakness. So for me, I'm not a numbers person, okay? I'm a marketing and promotion. So someone would say your weakness is accounting. Oh, it's not my weakness. I hire the best accountant I can. No, let's not worry so much about our weaknesses. Let's look at what our strengths are and say, how can we take our strength and take that to the next level? So I tell the kids to call me Coach Steve, because I'm there to coach them to see wherever they're stronger and to push and encourage them to build on their strengths and to mitigate the weaknesses. So Coach Steve is what they call me.
Coach Steve, that's great. The like from a parent perspective, because the parent at this point is the investor in this program. They're the ones who pay, I'm guessing, mostly.
Yes.
So if you were to promote or give three massive advantages that they will get from their investment, what would you say?
I would say number one, the students are gonna learn, their children are gonna learn about goal setting, about discipline, and about focus. And actually, they're gonna have a renewed sort of respect and admiration for the work that their parents are doing. I have many parents tell me, you know, this week has changed my son or daughter's life. I've had parents, even for the Kid Entrepreneur Academy, parents come up and say, you know, my son came home and he was asking me about stocks and what we invested in and how we decided all this. So actually, it's going to build a bond between the parent who works and the child who might take all of it for granted, that mom and dad just put food on the table and you know, they don't get them what they want, clothes and all this. Now they know how hard mom and dad are working.
Yeah.
And they can begin to see that, you know, this doesn't come easy, and they begin to have a greater bond with their parents as workers and providers, but also appreciate the work that they do and hopefully be grateful to their parents who made that investment in them.
Okay, I actually got a lump in my throat now because this is true. This happened today. I said to my 9-year-old son, after I had made lots of stuff for them, like taking them to the football field. We played football, even if it's really warm. They got to take lots of kids home to play. I made food for everyone, and I made them listen to my speech. But then afterwards, I had to take all these kids home and prepare for this. So I said to my son, in a nice way, I said, I so much look forward to the day when you can understand all the things I do for you. Poor little boy. And he says, but I do, Mom. I said, yeah, okay, I know you do, but I mean the day when you actually, when it means something to you, when you know that, oh my God, this is so much, and it actually makes you want to go up and clean the house. So I'm convinced that what you say is true, that these teenagers get an insight into adulthood, the responsibilities, and that some people think are boring because there are oftentimes obligations, but by learning it this way, it becomes interesting and an adventure, something like an opportunity.
Well, it's true, and we tell them on the first day that you know, they're responsible for themselves and their life. You know, whatever's happened to them, for example, you know, where you were born and who you were born to, you had no choice in. Okay, that was just what happened. Where you live today, you might not have a choice in, but you do have a choice in how you decide to behave, to think, and act at this point. They're young adults, and so we make them responsible for their own destiny, and they can participate in that. We're not babying them. If they can't, you know, they work things out themselves, and so we're treating them as young entrepreneurs, young business owners, young adults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what is your advice to someone, let's not put an age on it, but someone who wants to become a great entrepreneur? Are there some skills you can practice or improve? Is reading books very important? What would you say are important things to grow as an entrepreneur?
Well, we have our motto is dream, plan, do. So our whole focus is on the doing, on the action oriented. We can read books forever. Yes, we want to read books. You can go online and read articles and all of this. But at the end of the day, nothing replaces actually doing it. It's sort of like riding a bicycle. Think about how you learn to ride a bicycle. I don't know, no parents took out a little chart and said, this is the bicycle, you put your hands here, and then you pedal aerodynamics. Think about this. Didn't every parent put you on the bike and give you a little push? And then we fell down. and then we got back up, and it gave us a little push, and we fell down. And eventually, after 3 or 4 times, we found that balance spot, and before we know it, we could ride a 2-wheeler. The only way to learn to ride a bicycle is you have to get on and start pedaling and see what happens. And it's the same thing with entrepreneurship. And fail and fall down. I remember my first time, I didn't know how to hit the brakes. I was just going slow, but I hit this little wall in front of me, and then, okay, but now you learn about the brakes. You put the brakes on. But the other thing, too, you mentioned how to be great entrepreneurs. That word great, it's sort of subjective, because the world has a meaning. What does great mean? You know, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, okay? But the world is really full of great entrepreneurs that never get the headline. The great entrepreneur who's making a good product, having happy, satisfied customers, changing your life. That's the great entrepreneur, finding satisfaction in what you're doing, meeting a need. And so there are so many great entrepreneurs that nobody will ever hear about, read about, but they can feel good and sleep well at night knowing that they're doing something great, even if the world doesn't call it great.
True. Very well said. If you were to give just like that, without having had the luxury of preparing it, but just on the spot, an advice to people who want to achieve and have dreams and goals and aspire to reach them, what is something you would say in order to encourage and help them?
I would say, number one, even if it's one sheet of paper, one page, write down what it is that you think you want to accomplish, number one. I had a faculty member one time, he said, sometimes I don't know what I think till I see what I write. So take the time to write down what you think your plan is, who you think your customer in the market is, because it's going to force all of these thoughts racing through your mind to be on a piece of paper. And then you'll read it and say, well, that doesn't make sense. I have to straighten this out. So number one, write down what it is, and then take small steps. Take that small step to begin. In the Old Testament, it says, do not despise the day of small beginnings. Every big company in this whole world, you might have seen the Apple movie with Jobs and all. They started in his mother's garage. He had an idea. He made one thing. So don't worry about being small. You don't have to rush to get big. And, celebrate that first customer, one customer. Because until you have a customer, you still only have a hobby. You don't have a business yet. Believe in yourself. Create the product. Identify who you think is your customer. And talk to them and sell one and see what they say. And when you sell one, then you get ready to sell 2 and 3. And you're going to learn as you go. But just take those incremental steps, and you have to do it. Too many people, they're going to be in analysis paralysis. They're going to think about it forever. Do it. Whatever it is you want to start or make, product, service, get started. Try it. And you're going to learn. You're going to refine. There's this big company called PayPal. They do this online payment.
Yeah.
And we, in my class, we talk about the founding of companies and all of this. Well, PayPal is on their 4th business model. Their first plan did not work. They changed the business model. They revised their plan. Plan number 2 didn't work. Plan number 3. It was their 4th iteration of their plan that finally got to work to do what it is they want to do. So again, anticipate these things. Be flexible. Don't fall in love with your idea so much so that if it doesn't work, you're still holding on to it. You're going to have to adjust and modify. So be flexible, but there's no substitution for the action. Just believe in yourself, even if there's doubters and naysayers, because the world is full of people saying, oh, we don't need another one of them, or someone else is doing that. Okay? If you believe that there's value to what you're doing, this is a big world. We believe in a mindset of abundance, not a mindset of scarcity. Okay? I mean, just think about cars, right? Do you need another? Look how many makes and models of cars there are, right? There's something for everyone. So if you believe in it and you find people that want to buy it, then just do it. Any product that's out there, water. I mean, there's so many different water companies. But if you have some unique value proposition, just do it. Get feedback from the customer and the market. But you have to be action oriented. But believe in yourself. Forget all the naysayers. Take advice. It's good advice. But don't let the discouragers get you down, because, I mean, otherwise you're going to just be discouraged to death.
Yeah, which can easily happen.
Oh, easily.
Easily happen. Okay, I must say this before I forget. I want to give a shout out to my very dear friend, Dr.Betty, who I'm very grateful for having connected us, and who is one of the sponsors and was on the finalist jury, helping you select the winners. So
yeah, she's just been I'll equal that shout out, a breath of fresh air. She also serves on our School of Business Deans Advisory Board, and California Bank and Trust, great supporters. Other members of her team served as business plan coaches and judges. And of course, it's Dr. Betty. She's got a doctorate degree in leadership and entrepreneurship. So grateful to have her professionally involved, but also personally as a friend, a mentor, and advisor. She's one of those positive people that are going to help people figure out how to get things done, as opposed to tell them why it can't be done.
Yeah. And I'm going to do this again. An official and very impressed congratulations to the girls from Luxembourg, Vicky and Cheryl. So Steve, Coach Steve, this has been a pleasure, really. And thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom and knowledge. Yes, I almost wish I could be a teenager again and send myself to the teen academy. But I am excited for my kids, because they have the opportunity to participate.
Well, they do, and we welcome them. We welcome you. And a shout out again, like you said, to Vicky and Cheryl. We have scholarships waiting for you here at Concordia University, Irvine. So if you want to come back to Southern California, Concordia, Irvine is waiting for you.
Oh, that is a nice thing to hear. I say thank you so much, and keep inspiring us. I hope I get to meet you in person sometime when I come to Irvine, and hear some more from your wisdom.
You're welcome anytime. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye now.
Bye.